Good morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, July 7th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time in the U.S., 4:30 p.m. in London. In Mexico City, it's 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. Tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time on ESPN Sports Network, LeBron James from the Cleveland Cavaliers will make an announcement as to where he is going to next play basketball. Not only is this of interest to NBA fans, but there is a substantial amount of money involved, possibly as much as $1 billion. We'll have the answer for that on, I guess, the day after, which would be Friday morning. We'll now go to our main story. The main story continues to be the heat in the U.S. It was 103 degrees yesterday in New York City. In the background here, you can see the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. New Yorkers are bathing there in Staten Island at Fort Wordsworth. The heat today is going to be about 100 again, from Virginia all the way up to New Hampshire. The crux of the heat, believe it or not, is situated over the Philadelphia area, which is just about where we are. National Weather Services said high humidity levels could make today feel as hot as yesterday. Scattered power outages have affected customers up and down the East Coast. In Washington, D.C., about 2,000 customers remain without power today. And in New Jersey, Public Service Electric and Gas reported about 6,000 customers without electricity. In New York City, Con Ed said that it's trying to get power back to about 6,300 customers. At one point yesterday, there were as many as 19,000 people without power. It's very hot here again today. Well, no matter how hot it is here in Abu Dhabi, it's presumably much warmer. There, Tony Hayward, the Chief Executive Officer of British Petroleum, is meeting with the Crown Prince. And he said he'd be open to seeing Abu Dhabi buy a stake of up to 10% of BP. Mr. Hayward flew into Abu Dhabi yesterday for meetings with officials. He spoke to BP employees in the Emirate, who are a significant number, in a town hall type of gathering. And during the question and answer period, he said he'd be happy for Abu Dhabi to take a 10% equity stake. Abu Dhabi controls 90% of the oil in the United Arab Emirates. Frick Andre, a oil commodity analyst for BP, for Credit Suisse, said, "This will certainly improve the liquidity position and also give a little more stability to BP." According to data provider FactSet, the Kuwait Investment Authority, a neighbor, already holds a 2.8% stake in BP. It's about 531 million shares. Well, about half an hour from now, the President of the United States is going to announce that a series of steps aimed at boosting U.S. exports have so far brought a 17% increase in American exports in the first 4 months of the year. President Obama will go on at about noon. His National Export Initiative, which he introduced during his State of the Union address at the beginning of the year, seeks to double exports over the next 5 years. The White House said that Obama will say that the program is on schedule so far. The stock market is up about 126 points today. And in Brussels, the European Union lawmakers have voted overwhelmingly to cap bankers' short-term cash bonuses from next year, a move that the EU hopes other leaders in the world will follow. The vote was 594 to 24. This is in the European Parliament. So beginning in 2011, bankers will only be able to get part of their yearly bonuses in cash up front. The other 70% will be held back and paid out if the company performs well. The caps, of course, come after an outcry over payments to executives of banks that received huge state bailouts during the financial crisis. Some say that the bonuses encourage bankers to take massive risks at the expense of their long-term future. That sounds familiar, doesn't it? In the United States, let's see if you could get that through Congress. Good luck. And here's an interesting statement from China's Foreign Exchange Agency, from whom we've begun to hear things lately. They've been typically very silent over the past 30 years. But in a posting on their website today, they sought to ease concerns about how China uses its huge currency reserves, saying that they would never wield its holdings of U.S. government debt as a threat. The organization is the State Administration of Foreign Exchange. was presented in a question and answer form on the agency website, and they rebutted what they portray as misconceptions about the management of China's $2.4 trillion in foreign exchange reserves. The statement rejected the notion, held by some analysts, that China's large holdings of U.S. debt constituted a threat to the U.S. The agency said that the market for U.S. sovereign debt remains an important one for China's reserve due to its liquidity, security, and low transaction costs. The debt of other foreign nations, China said, may not be issued in sufficient quantities to meet China's needs. It's interesting because the agency is frequently the subject of speculation because they hold so much money. It's long refused to comment on issues. However, lately they've become more forthcoming because presumably the U.S.-educated chief, Yi Gang, has taken over control of the agency. For example, back in May, they issued a denial of a market-rattling media report that suggested that China was considering reducing its holdings of Eurozone debt. So it's interesting to have these guys as a player now in the global talk and chatter that goes over the cable TV stations and the internet. The statement also said that China's investment in U.S. debt is a market investment action, and that whether to increase or reduce holdings of American debt is entirely a normal investment operation. They also said that concerns that people hold that the Chinese would use the reserves as a nuclear weapon are, quote, totally unnecessary. We'll go to a break from Word. We'll go to a break now and hear a word from our sponsors. Here's a headline. Lloyd's of London's 2010 combined ratio could hit 100% according to AM Best. They may fail to make an underwriting profit due to the cat losses in the first half of the year. Best has, however, affirmed the financial strength rating of A, or excellent, for Lloyd's of London. The organization also expects that the London market will maintain its strong capitalization, quote, despite anticipated deterioration in performance during the current more challenging phase in the insurance cycle. It describes potential drawdowns on central fund assets as modest. They also note that the Chilean earthquake and Deepwater Horizon oil rig catastrophes could in fact cause 2010 performance to fall short of 2009. The report sums up Lloyd's benefits from the excellent position in the global insurance and reinsurance market it has as a specialist provider of property and casualty business. Well, I have to wonder who writes that. Chaucer made some news. Syndicate 1084 partners with Scandins to write Scandinavian marine risks.